Welcome to Small Town Big Business, a podcast about doing big business in small town America. We're so glad that you joined us. I'm Jennifer Olson, Director of Business Development for the City of Marion.
And I'm Russ Williams. I'm Director of Ethos, a small business incubator. We offer co-working spaces and training and development for small businesses and nonprofits located at the Citadel building right here on Tower Square Plaza in downtown Marion, Illinois. Thank you for joining us, and thanks to our sponsors for making the podcast possible. So a shout out to Arcadia Wealth Group, Black Diamond Harley Davidson and RV, Fowler Heating and Cooling, the Swinford Media Group, Watermark Auto Group Foundation, and thanks to Banterra Bank in Southern Illinois Now.
We'd be remiss if we didn't thank our producer, Luke O'Neill from Union Street Arts, and of course our audience. We're so glad that you found us. We are on all of the podcast platforms, Podbean, Spotify, Apple, you name it, we are there. If you like us, please subscribe, rate and review us, share us with a friend, do the things that it takes to help us grow our audience. And if you just can't resist seeing the video version, you can find us on YouTube. And with that, we'll introduce our guest today, which is John Hill of Bennie's Italian Foods.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. So you're new to this, right?
How many podcasts do you do each week?
I haven't done very many, but I've spoken to schools and different things like that.
I'm at the restaurant business.
That I really do too. I'm almost 38 plus years in now. Actually, I was born to it. My daddy owned Tom's Barbecue. 6 months old, we started then, and I've been in it all my life.
Awesome. So long enough to see evolution.
I've seen evolution. The main thing I've seen, and when we talk about restaurants in Marion especially, when we first started, I mean, there was our place, there was Pulley's, there was Ron's Barbecue, there was the buffet place that Gene Ice owned. There was very few. And you know, I thought about it when I was thinking about what we were going to talk about today. I thought about, you know, the population isn't a whole lot different. I mean, there was maybe 12,000 people then, and what are we at, 17 now? And there's a lot of restaurants now. I think there's 100 and some odd places you can get something to eat in Marion. People ask me a lot of times about competition. Well, who is your competition? Well, Huck's, Casey's, even places like that you don't presume, you know, anywhere you can get something to eat, they're my competition. And I'll be quite honest with you, it's not uncommon for me to stop in there if I'm in busy transit, this, that, and the other. I'm going to stop by and I'm going to grab me a little bite and it'll suffice me and I'll go on about my way. So then that cuts the restaurant owner out. But it's just one of those ongoing problems that we deal with and go on. It's just a part of our evolving world.
Yeah. I will say so much of the expansion recently has been the national chains. And yes. I do think they help us pull people off the interstate. But I think that people still want the locally owned, the mom and pop, the experience. They want to come to a traditional downtown. And I feel like you guys are at the heart of that.
Well, we're the oldest place in Marion. I feel like I'm the oldest guy in Marion. I used to be the young guy on the block, and I've been here so long now, I'm an old man. But really and truly, since Mike got involved with our city and became our mayor, this revitalization of downtown has really brought some attention to us. Most of the attention, if you thought about where you wanted to go to eat or something like that, you immediately thought about the interstate. So now that we've gotten to where we are, as we look out the window here and see all this new construction and things, you know, we've got a lot going on downtown. We got the vault downstairs. We got Kevin Tondini's place, and you know, there's places down here now that Little Nashville. Everything that we're doing downtown is more of a draw to make us the destination rather than out there. So we're trying to change people's thinking and train them to come back downtown. And with all we've got going on, I think it's going to be a great thing in the future.
That's awesome. John, can we go back to the origin story of Bennie's? Can you tell us about that?
Origin story of Bennie's. Bennie Mazzara, he was an Italian immigrant. He comes to America and he's selling hot tamales around the square. Ironically enough, here's a story that nobody really knows. I have buddies now that are 10, 15 years older than me. they tell me stories about they used to take ducks, geese, deer, all their game to Mr. Bennie's back door. Mr. Bennie ground all that stuff up, and guess what? That's what was in a hot
And a tamale.
When people say, boy, it was really good back then, well, they were eating fresh meat back then that was caught from the land. So Mr. Bennie did that, and he also had a horse-drawn cooler. He sold ice cream. And as you know, the courthouse used to be in the middle of the square. The Orpheum Theater was here. This is where everybody came. Mr. Bennie was a staple in Marion, round and round and round. He was very successful in business, and he just had one part that he didn't know about, and that was the IRS. So when Mr. Bennie bought the building where we were located in John Caviss's building, all of a sudden the IRS found Mr. Bennie. He paid for that building with shoeboxes full of money. So they said, hey, we need to talk to you just a minute. So Mr. Bennie got introduced to the American way, and it's history from there. Actually, Lynn and I bought Bennie's from, my mom bought it originally, and a couple of years later we got married and we bought her out. We bought the business from Bennie's daughter and her husband, Marion Gill Harlan, and they had run it for years and years and years. And the age of the things in there and the way it was done and things like that were all totally old school. And me growing up in the barbecue business, I really didn't know about this pasta thing. So that was when I was 20 years old. I'll be 60 this year. And we got started, and I opened the oven door and looked at the wall behind it. And I'm like, hey, you don't have a whole oven here. Well, she cooked her pasta in salt water. It was on the back edge of the burner. That salt water boiled over for years and years and years and years. And the next thing you know, it rotted the oven away. So really, we didn't know it only took 4 hours to cook a beef, but we cooked them for 8 there because the heat was all going out the back. It was really an interesting situation to walk into. Bennie's originally served soda in a glass bottle. You got a straw. If you got ice, it was extra. All kinds of things like that, you know, guys, with my age and what I've seen go on, it was so unique to anything else you've ever seen. And when we think about it now, it was just, you know, they said, really, they did business like that? And they did. And guess what? It worked. And we this is old school. We actually took orders on a pad. And the girls actually added it up with a calculator, and we made our own change. And, you know, some of the unique things that we don't do today. You know, I used to get kids from the high school CBS program, and I had a conversation with a teacher, and I said, hey, I'll take these kids. I'll be more than happy to take the kids. Could you teach them to make change? And her response was, that's not in our budget. And I said, monopoly money? I'll pay for it. Just go get it and teach them to make change. But in today's world, that's just not something they do. You know, we teach them to type and get on Google and all these other things, but we didn't teach them to make change. So it's been a very interesting evolution over the years. It really has. And we've seen everything from going to, I don't know what we had in town back then, 10, 15 restaurants to over 100. And now, you know, it's a different ballgame. Recently, I hired a consultant because I felt like I'd got stagnant in where I was at. I'm kind of burnt out, you know, this many years working 6 days a week. I'm getting tired in my old age, and I carry a lot of weight, and my back hurt and my feet hurt and going up and down stairs. And I just kind of got stagnant. And I hired a really, really good chef. And him and I just are like family. And a lot of the people that work for us are like family. I mean, we're a mom and pop place. And when I hire somebody new, I said, hey, this isn't corporate. We're here. We do this thing. And we take great pride in what we do. But the consultant spurred me to think. And that's what I would encourage people to do is if you think you're getting stagnant, get somebody to challenge you. And that one of the things that you talked about asking me was, what's my motivation? My motivation is the challenge. You know what? Anybody could be in the restaurant business. How many people can be the best? And since we've got on board with this consultant, and he was a friend of mine before, I hired him on the move from the old place to the new place. And when he came back on board, I mean, he lit a fire under me, and he caused me to remember where I came from and why. And when you figure out your why, that's what makes it all work.
That's awesome.
Well, tell us more about your why.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that you found a new passion, because I do think, I mean, if you think about people today, people are having not just 7 jobs, they're having 7 different careers. So something is going on when people get stagnant, and it's not always fixing it to stay course.
Well, Jennifer, you know, when people get stagnant today, they bail out. We weren't raised that way. You stay and fight. And that's kind of who I've been my whole life. We stayed and fight. That's just who we are. And some really crazy things have happened in our world, but the main thing is my why now is, okay, 98% of all independent restaurants fail. Okay, well, I'm not going to fail. I want to go out being the best. So our challenge now with our managers is, we don't just put out a product, we put out the best product every time. You'll see in our advertising now, a lot of our stuff is made in-house. We make all our own sauces, our own lasagna, our own Italian beef, all those things, and nobody does that anymore. It's very labor intensive, but the quality should be much better than anybody else's. And the reason why the other people don't do that is, for lack of a better term, we had to dumb it down. We had to dumb it down to where anybody could do it, because we lost the skill set of people having a passion for cooking and things like that. So, or even as an owner, they lost their passion for being there, and they let somebody that didn't care and didn't know what they were doing take over. Well, what actually happened to me was, my mom passed away about 3.5 years ago, and I always thought about my dash. And I had spent my dash working. And I said, I ain't going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to be here every day, but I'm not going to be here daylight to dark anymore. And that was 3.5 years ago, and it showed. And then when I hired the consultant, here it came again. So my why now is to finish on top of my game. You know, I think we've always been a quality place throughout COVID and whatnot. My goodness. I mean, guys, I've seen a lot of things in the years I've been in business, but COVID, that was a curveball. And we had, at the time, my son was working for us. We had a chef, and Mom was the curb service gal, and I was a delivery driver. What do? We stand here and dig. You know, we weren't going to let them beat us. I kind of pushed the envelope on I'm not going to close down. I don't care what the government says. I have a right to do business, and we took every precaution we could, and we worked hard at it. We sanitized our menus, and we did the best we could, and we masked up and all the things that it took, but we never stopped. And I ended up being encouragement for a lot of the other independents to say, hey, I'm not going to survive this if I stop. So they'd call me and say, hey, what are you doing? I said, I'm protecting my life. I'm not stopping. So that's kind of my why. Got grandkids now. Kind of my why. But more importantly, when you're an independent, the biggest drawback or negative in my business for me, when you're a person of great pride and you get a negative review, it's a stake in the heart. Here's the thing, is it warranted or not? I address them all, but you know what? Everybody's not going to be perfect every time. As hard as we strive to do that, everybody's not going to be perfect every time. So, and in our age today and with social media and the things that go on, it's real easy for somebody to cut you up over something very small. You know, well, we were in there the other night and our food was cold. Did you tell anybody? Because nobody tends to their problems better than I. Hey, you know what? If you've got a problem with somebody, they deserve to know, because the people on social media today are of the opinion that we were trying to do it on purpose. When the truth of the matter is we not only want you, but we need you as a frequent customer for a lifetime. So with that being said, we're trying to take care of you, and you're cutting me up. Hey, how about just calling me and giving me the opportunity to fix it? It seems very simple to me, and I take that very personal. I do.
Well, you're speaking about your values and the culture that you've created. So speak more about that. What type of culture are you teaching to your employees that you want to display to your customers?
Russ, that's a grand question. We have young people come to us today that have never vacuumed the floor, and you have to teach people to vacuum. I'm like, really? My daddy died when I was 16 years old. My mom went to work. She'd never been in the restaurant. She went to work. If I had clean clothes and a clean house, I better learn how to do laundry and vacuum. And that was just part of my raising. That's how we grew up. You got to take responsibility. And now, I mean, it's tough. My case in point, Russ and Jennifer come in. I say, hey, those are important people to me. Take good care of them. What's that mean to you? What's take good care of them mean? If I came from a place that eats Hot Pockets, and I've never been to some place like Mary's, what's good service? So we're teaching these young people, and the nice part about it is, guys, is most of the young people are very receptive. They actually yearn to be taught. And they talk about kids in America today and this, that, and the other. I beg to differ. We've got a lot of good kids that just need some attention. And when they get that attention, they tend to run with it. And we have a great turnover because the ones that don't run with it, they're out. You know somebody's making money with me when you see them there again and again and again. They bought in and they get it. Talk to my chef and my front manager daily. Guys, here's what we're shooting for. We're shooting for perfection. It's going to fall somewhere between here and there. But if we set our goals this high, we're going to get a lot closer there than we are to being back. So the teaching the young people that, hey, this is important. You don't just call off because you got the sniffles. Everybody just bails now. It's just not the way this country was meant to be. And you have to have some initiative and integrity to be successful at whatever you're going to do. I mean, most of the people that work for me, I have a few career people, but most of the people that work for me, it's just a stepping stone to move forward onto a career job. Although what we have to pay today, it's kind of a career job. I mean, these girls, when they're waiting tables, they can make some serious money. And it's just, you have to have, my daddy used to call it the willy. You have to have some willy to you to get in there and get after it and not bail. And today we are a bail disposable society. Case in point, I went to look at a chainsaw the other day. My chainsaw is acting up, it won't idle. Okay, well, I can go in the back and pay them to fix it, and the shop time's $100. So it's going to be $100 plus to get that chainsaw fixed. But I can go out here on the shelf and buy a brand new one for $250. Well, mine's 15 years old. It's now disposable. Wasn't supposed to be that way. Our country and our times have changed the rules of the game, and it's not very becoming. And anytime, you don't have quote unquote favorite employees, but anytime somebody sucks it up and puts forth the effort, they're my people, and I take care of them. Because I have some people in the back that have worked for me for several years. They take care of me, and I take care of them. But they're also almost my age. So that's kind of the trade-off we get today. And all I can do as an owner and as a man of integrity, all I can do is try to pass some of those qualities and things along to young people and say, hey, this isn't how you do this. So it's worked very well for us over the years. We've had some 19-year employees and things like that, but overall, the majority is a quick turn. They're going somewhere else. They're going in the military. They're going to college. They're going on to another job. They're going on to moving and this and that and the other, and nobody settles anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's been the biggest struggle I have.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about the evolution of the employees, and you did touch a little bit on customers, but tell us how the customers changed over the years.
Customers now, you know as well as I do, everybody's got their cell phone in their hand. What happens when you push enter or send? Instant gratification. Our world doesn't work that way. I don't know if you know this or not, but when you order, we're going to cook it right then. It's not McDonald's. And our customer, they live in an instant gratification world. And it's a little bit difficult for us because we're not that person. We're not that business. And Mom and I are getting ready to take on DoorDash. And that instant gratification thing. I'm not going to leave home. I'm tired. I'm this. I was raised in an Italian household. You better get up and you better go get your own. You're not going to pay the extra money or whatever to have it delivered. I mean, my Italian relatives are smoking in the ground right now thinking that I would do that or pay extra money for something without having to. I was having a discussion with John Michael the other day. I said, hey, you need to really think about, let's quit this rent thing. Let's get us a new house. Okay. I said, $200,000 house, you need 40 grand. He said, 40 grand. I said, yeah, that's a down payment. He said, man, is anybody going to make it, Dad? I said, it's getting tougher every day. I said, but you're going to make it, but he's doing real well with what he's doing. But, these young people, they face those challenges.
Absolutely.
And they face interest rates, and they face the cost of goods, and they face the cost of gasoline, and, it just goes on and on. So it's, the customers are different too.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is the prices we charge today, I look at the menu and it really upsets me. And we go somewhere else and I go, well, and then I look at what the food costs me now. Our food's up 26% in the last year. And then last year, power used to be regulated in Illinois. Well, they deregulated that power. Well, we had 3 months in a row last summer that my light bill was $6,000 a month. Hey guys, that's a lot of money. There's a lot of hot tamales and $6,000 clear. So all those things are challenges that we face today that the customer has to understand. That I hope they understand that if a business doesn't pass cost on to the consumer, they're out of business. Mm-hmm. And that's just where we stand. Minimum wage. I mean, it's astronomical now. And the thing about it is, after COVID, we had a group of people that were entitled, that were worth a bunch of money, but they still had no skill set. So in the process, we're trying to make this thing work, and we're hiring people at double the wage, and they have no skill set. If you were head and shoulders above everybody else, hey, you're probably worth that money. Mm-hmm. But when you're just an average Joe that doesn't care, it's pretty tough to pay that. Mm-hmm. And it's tough to come up with that money. It really is. It's presented a challenge. It's all very, very new to us. Mm-hmm. So the old way of doing business, it just seemed to work. And then when we started evolving, all of a sudden everybody's scrambling. And I'll say to a food salesman, I'll say, hey, am I slow or is everybody slow? He said, everybody's slow. Mm-hmm. So we have our challenges. The nice part about it is I'm not looking at that anymore. I think if I strive to be the best I can at what I do, it won't matter. Mm-hmm. I won't be slow. Mm-hmm. And we put out a good product at an affordable price, give good service. I think we're going to do just fine.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm kind of disappointed you're not more passionate about your business, but
I was like, where is this going?
Yeah. But let me ask you, what do you love about your business? What do you love about being a business owner? What do you love about being here in Marion, Illinois?
Actually, it's the people.
Yeah.
I was always pushed to people. I've always been an underdog guy. I've always been the guy that, hey, this guy's lagging behind a little bit. Let's give him an up. Had many people work for me over the years from the halfway house. And it was amazing, some of the stories and some of the things that they'd done and been through and this, that, and the other. And, you know, a lot of times people come to work for you that have been in very unfortunate circumstances and raised by people that were under the same set of circumstances. And even as much as if you say, hey, man, how you fix your problems? Well, no. You ever think about praying? Do what? Did you ever think about God? They don't know anything about God. And when you have people that work for you that don't know anything about God, and you can hand them that, spoon feed it gently, all of a sudden they start to question, what's he talking about? You know, so it's definitely the people. Ironically enough, I used to go to the dining room and know everybody. I went table to table to table. I knew everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I go down there now and I'm like, who are these people? Where did y'all come from? Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily seem to be the same people over and over and over. This guy, that guy, this guy, that guy. And it changes all the time. And I'm like, hey, nice to see you, but I don't know who you are. And that is way different for me. And really and truly, anytime we have somebody new in the building, they come get me.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad, we got somebody new at 27.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
I go down, shake their hand, introduce myself,
yeah.
ask them where they're from, why they're here.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, there's a few owners and managers that will walk from table to table and ask people how their food was, but you're curious.
Yeah.
I know that about you. You'll come over and you'll get to know somebody.
The thing about it is, I'm taking your meal personal. If it's not good, shame on you if you don't tell me, because I'm going to fix it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So when I go to a table and I say, hey, is everything all right? And you say yes, I'm assuming it is, because I was there to fix a problem. Mm-hmm. If we got any problems, guys, let me help you. You know, that's what we do. And when you have that attitude towards your customer, it used to show. Now they'll say, oh, yeah, it's fine, and then tell the waitress, I'm not paying for this. I'm like, wait a minute, I was just there. You know, so, yeah, my passion is still the people. The people are just getting a little tougher to deal with, you know. And now they'll leave you at the least little bobble. They got 100 and something places to go. They won't be back. So we fight that every day. You know, we try to be spot on every day and make it, actually we call it a dining experience. You can go anywhere and eat. We are creating a dining experience, and I hope my host will say, hello, how are you? I hope my busboy says, how are you today? I hope whenever you leave, somebody in that building says, hey, thanks, come back. Mm-hmm. Glad to have you. When on a Friday and Saturday night, when I'm not in the kitchen expoing, I'm standing in the gap right by the hostess. How are y'all? Good to have y'all. And that's what I meant. It's not just cliche or that's what we say. That's what I meant. Hey, glad to have you. You'd be surprised how many people don't speak. I mean, I'm a big boy. You weigh 250 and you're standing in the middle of the floor. Somebody got to walk around you. And I ask how you're doing or hi, I'm glad to have you, and you don't speak. Come on now. Mm-hmm. I was genuine. I want you to have a good experience start to finish. Mm-hmm. I don't want your drink to be empty. I don't want your fries to be cold. All of those things, when you think about how many moving parts there is in a restaurant, all of those things have to come together at once for not just y'all, but there's 100 people in here. We have to put all that together and make it work. And believe you me, if there's a bobble, I take it personal. And I'm going to help you and I'm going to fix it. That's what we do. And I think really and truly that is hopefully the key to our success is we don't let any stone go unturned, and we at least have our people bought into doing the best job that they can. Mm-hmm. Everybody has a bad day. You got 7 waitresses on the floor, somebody's having a bad day. Mm-hmm. You got 6 cooks in there, somebody's having a bad day. So, you know, you just try to overrun those things and make it all work, and it seems to work. There's times I stand back and scratch my head and go, whoa, how'd that happen? But it seems to work in the end, by the grace of God. Thank you.
But I think when it lands with somebody and they feel sincerity and they feel like you're trying to make it right, you know, it does build loyalty. And it also, I think, builds community, which we're in very short supply of. Uh-huh. And so I applaud your being in the front of the house.
The funny thing is, I'll hit on you just for a second. Whenever you come in my place and I speak to you, you always have the same attitude because you know what I'm about. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I can see it on people's face when I say, hey, good to see you today. I can see it on their face. The ones that are genuine, the ones that get it, the one that understands what we're doing to produce this, they get it.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful. The ones that don't, I want to say, did you hear me? I really appreciate you being here, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't think they get that, so they really don't know the response. Mm. And the response is, it's good to be here. And that happens quite a bit too. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have some fabulous customers, and you can count on those people, and they're there every Friday or Saturday night, and they have been so good to us. We had people during COVID come and sit on the parking lot and eat 3 nights a week, and I haven't seen them before or since. But I would deliver to miscellaneous houses around town, and they would say, hey, it's your night tonight, but we'll be back to you. And I thought, what does that mean? They had a list by their door, mm-hmm. and they went to an independent every night to help keep us afloat. We have a lot of good people.
That's good. So you have great customers. You mentioned your mom. Who else inspires you? Who gets John Hill fired up and motivated?
Today, Gordon Ramsay. Mm-hmm. Gordon Ramsay, I was flipping through the channels and I got to watching Kitchen Nightmares.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Lord. But I like the guy's thinking. Mm-hmm. My dad was probably my biggest inspiration and push because I grew up there. Mm-hmm. If you talk to my son, he's just like me, who's just like my dad. We grew up in business. Here's how you talk to people. Here's how you treat people. And when those things come about, you know, it's good to pass on. But I really think that Gordon Ramsay has with a consultant and Gordon Ramsay, it caused me to go, I can change this. Some of my mentors in my life, years ago at the old place, Harry L. and Rosemary Crisp were really good friends with my folks. Johnny Goss, L.C. Cavanis. All those guys were business people in this community that were significant business people. And they all spoon-fed me little tidbits about you ought to do this, you ought to do that, you ought to do this, you ought to do that. Harry L. and I are still dear friends, and he's sitting down one time and he asked me if I knew what real money was. I said, excuse me? He said, do you know what real money is? I said, you mean the part between depreciation and the money you take in? He said, yeah, how'd you know that? I said, I learned everything I know from somebody smarter than me because I'm uneducated. I graduated high school, took a short stint at SIU, and I clung to all those people. So Harry L. tells me when I was a kid, I was waiting tables at Tom's, and Harry L. would come every Saturday with a different kid. Mm. This kid 1 week, this kid 1 week, this kid 1 week, and they had one-on-one time. And he was teaching and passing on to them. And he has a wonderful family. But he said, here's what I want you to do. Every time you go on vacation, you pick one really good restaurant and ask them if you can see the kitchen and talk to their chef. Okay. Well, I didn't really know what I was doing at the time, but a mentor told me about it. My mom's in St. Louis with another couple. Next thing you know, I said, hey, could I see the executive chef? And it's a place right across from the Galleria Mall. I can't call the name of it. But anyway, it's a big Italian place, nice, fancy. So the guy leaves and he comes back and he says, the chef will see you now. And I go back there and he said, what can I help you with? I said, I just want to see how your operation works. Really? So this guy takes me around and I'm talking, guys, this ain't no kitchen. This is a kitchen, like 6 or 7 walk-in coolers, people everywhere, people making pastries. I was like, okay. So every kitchen I ever went in, I tried to pick one thing that would work for me. when we made the transition from the old place to the new place, there was kitchen design teams out of St. Louis. And I said, I can't do this. I'm going to stop. I can't do this because I don't understand. He said, why don't you come to St. Louis? Okay. I go to St. Louis, get in his car, and we go to the pasta house in the Galleria Mall. Never forget it. The guy's name was DeGregio, was the head chef. And he said, what do you want to see, son? I said, everything you'll show me. And at the time, we were trying to figure out how to set up our kitchen. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, let's go. I walked back there, and I saw where the servers were. I walked behind the line, and I saw what they were doing. I said, Mr. DeGregio, I'm good to go now. He said, what? I said, I just needed to see the food move. I'm good to go. He took me around, showed me the rest of the place, but in 5 minutes, I had it all down. And guess what I did? I went and bought the equipment that emulated that line, mm-hmm. and I put it in down here. Mm-hmm. And so all I had to do was this guy was doing this job, this guy was doing this job, and this guy was doing this job, mm-hmm. and this is where it all came together. 5 minutes of seeing it work, I'm out of here. Thanks, got to go. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened. Mm-hmm. And it seemed to have worked pretty good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, the 40 years of business, you probably have some pretty good horror stories of things that didn't go right. Instead of talking about those, talk about what you learned from mistakes or challenges that you had. Give me a good one.
I'm going to give you a good one. We at Bennie's have been known for letting folks bring in birthday cakes.
Okay.
Right? Hey, it's kind of a community thing. You're bringing your family to eat with me. You want to bring your own cake? Okay, let's do it. Against better judgment at times, but anyway. So I got this family, and I take them upstairs, and there's 10 or 12 of them, and lady's got a birthday cake, and we got it sitting on a table for her, and it's all good. Next morning, By County walks in. He said, hey, John, we got a problem. I said, what? He said, you've poisoned a bunch of people. I don't think so. I said, what'd they eat? Well, this one had Italian beef, and this one had chili mac, and this one had lasagna. I said, were these people at a birthday party? Yeah. I said, but I didn't poison them. They poisoned them. The lady had a cream cake. Oh. She left in the car all day, and she poisoned her own family. I was like horrified. But when you got people sick over multiple different things, that didn't happen. Right. But that cream cake got them. And from that day forward, anytime somebody says, can I bring a cake, I always go, I mean, that was a horror story. Anytime By County walks in, you're always a little on the edge anyway. But when they tell you poisoned somebody, you really get ugly. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be sick. And then when he told me what the score was, I said, you need to talk to those folks and see if they had a cream cake. And it was a big cream cake, too. I'm glad I didn't take any. Generally, somebody offers me a piece. I would have ended up sick with the rest of them. But no, we've really been blessed. I mean, over the years, crazy things happen. You got 3 or 4 people sitting at a table, and 3 of the 4 is all eating the same thing, and one of them's food's no good. Yours all right? Yeah. Yours all right? Yeah. Yours isn't any good? All came out of the same pot. I mean, it's the same stuff. It's normal stuff. Mm-hmm. We got to deal with those things, and the blessing part. Let me share this with you. I'll never forget this. Over the years, we've given a lot of food away to people that were traveling and less fortunate. And I'll never forget this. There was a lady that came in with 3 little children. They were even sitting at booth 10. That's how vivid this is. And it was probably 10 years ago this happened. And this lady is sitting at booth 10 and with these 3 kids, and she orders 1 Italian beef special and water. She gets to the last bite and has a hair in her plate.
Oh, dang.
So you know how I fixed that, right? I went and got 3 cheeseburgers and another Italian beef. Seems that everything was just fine after that. And the thing about it is, if you're not an owner that's there, you'll never spot that. Mm-hmm. But the lady was hungry. Mm-hmm. She needed something for her kids. She didn't have any money. And you know what? I'm going to get you something to eat. That's just the way it is. And it's been really, over the years, the strange things have happened, and some of the customer things that have happened that I really don't want to talk about, where people got really rude or something. It's not very often that somebody can get rude and you say, hold it, I'm here to help you. What can I do for you? When you do that to them, they don't have a response because I think they just want to complain. Mm-hmm. Hey, okay, I get it. You had a problem? I'm good. I apologize. What can I do to make this right? Well. How about I buy this meal and the next one? Well. Tell me what it takes to make it right. I want to have you come back here. And a lot of times I don't have an answer. Not uncommon in the old days when I worked a lot for me to go outside and take a breather after a rush, just to walk around the building, and somebody that was inside complaining walks out on the front sidewalk as I walk around, and they were complaining about the time it took to get their food, and they walked out the front door and said, so what are we going to do now? You know, they couldn't enjoy what they were doing for the hurry. Mm. And those things, you know, just part of it, you know. When you watch Gordon Ramsay and Kitchen Nightmares and some of the things that owners do, you go, not in my book. That never happens. Mm. Hey, I don't think this rabbit was cold. Put your finger in it. Who does that? And no wonder they're going broke. You need him, all right. You need something serious. But no, I mean, and people want to voice their opinion. Okay, let's talk. From my aspect, when you have a good heart and you're actually here to do business, you don't need to yell at me. And by all means, don't yell at my people. You want to get me roostered up, you yell at one of my girls. You say something off color to one of my girls, we will have a conversation. But at the end of the day, I'm here for you. I tell my people, we're servants. We're taking care of these people. What can I do for you? Very simple. Yep. It's a very easy concept when you think about the big picture.
Well, I'm bolstered that you're finding more spark from the help of your consultant and a lot of things going right.
I really am. It's helped me.
I'm still discouraged by your impassionate, but.
Well, let me ask you something. Russ, with that being said, if you've eaten the same restaurant 2 meals a day, 6 days a week for 40 years, would you still have passion for it?
I'm just joking. I think you have deep passion. I'm enthused for what you're doing.
Every now and then, me and Mom will take a bologna sandwich and say, hey, this is really good.
I just wanted to ask what the future is, where you see Benny's 3 years, 5 years. Do you think there's a succession plan out there that makes sense for you?
In 3, 4, 5 years, somebody else will greet you at the door.
Okay.
I'm tired. I walked a lot of steps. I'm tired. I won't leave it until it's on the highest note it can be. And then it'll be somebody else to take the helm and hopefully continue on over 100-year run. So
go out on top. I heard you say that.
I want to go out on top. Yeah. I want to be the best. I've always been. I was a 4 letterman in high school. I always wanted to win. John Michael, we're going to be in a fishing tournament tomorrow. He works with some folks over in Carterville and that are challenged. And we're going to have a fishing tournament tomorrow. And him and I are taking one of the guys and this, that, and the other. So I shot him a text this morning. I said, hey, we're not bass fishing, are we? We're pan fishing. He said, oh, yeah. I said, well, I want to win. So that's kind of in my DNA. Yeah. I'm going to win, and I'm not going to go down without a fight. So I think our future's bright. I really do. Naturally, we had some new competition come to town. That had been talked about for 30 years.
Yes. And
I wish them well. But I know one thing. Whatever they did, mine's been better since they got here. So
that's good.
Come on.
That's awesome.
Well, but I just don't want to underplay or underemphasize what you're doing to leave it on top. Yeah. Because one, we don't want to lose legacy businesses that have history that support as many families as yours does. but also the unfortunate truth is so many times people have kind of mentally decided they're done, but they can't leave it. And that 3 or 5 year hang on can sometimes put the place in a condition that it's not able to sustain. So being conscious about it and making choices and making things that are uncomfortable happen to leave it at the top, that is very special.
I'll be quite honest with you. I've got way out of my comfort zone the last couple of months. I don't want to say I do. I was complacent. And whenever you see it and you feel it and you can't do anything about it, that's a bad place to be. And then once something lights that fire again, all of a sudden, hey, this is who I am, and I don't want my kids to be in this business. John Michael has his own career. Miss Allie lives in Indiana. They have their own thing, and I don't want them to go through what I do every day now. I mean, me and Mom fight it every day. She deals with the bills and the money and the front of the house, and I deal with the back of the house mostly, and all the things that go around in there are under me too. But after COVID, it became no fun. And it became not only a job, but work. And like I'd said before, the workforce, they don't get it. We're running a help wanted ad now, and a lot of people say, what's it pay? Is there guaranteed hours? Is there benefits? Things that you would do if you put in an application and you came and sat down and talked to somebody. And what they don't realize is that you really and truly are way ahead of the game if you come and sit across the table from me. Because we get to feel each other. Hey, you think like this, I think like that. What are you after? Not just a bold statement on Facebook, And it's really unfortunate. It's unfortunate that people don't understand that. I mean, and me being who I am, I really won't be smart about it. And I said, oh yeah, we've got full dental and medical, and we'll put your kids on, and But guys, think about it. Hey. I'm applying for a job. Well, you just told me that your main application was money. Let's see if we work at this and the money will come.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a little Italian boy, they told me, hey, boy, take care of your pennies and the dollars will take care of themselves. Yes. And that's kind of lost, But hopefully in November we'll get a little change of heart around here, and we'll get our country back and some realistic values, if you will.
Gotcha.
John, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
I just want to make sure that we've gotten everything out on the table that you had in your mind. So is there anything that we missed asking you about?
That's pretty much it. I appreciate being here.
Yeah.
I don't generally share this much with folks, but that's kind of who I am and the way I think. And we got a lot of good things fixing to happen at Bennie's, and pay attention, because we got some more new help, and we got some good things coming. And don't forget, before long we're going to be with DoorDash. So maybe that's something that'll help us out a little too.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you.
Thank
you bet.
Yeah. And we appreciate our viewers and listeners for staying with the Small Town Big Business podcast. And thank you to our sponsors, Arcadia Wealth Group, Black Diamond Harley Davidson and RV, Fowler Heating and Cooling, Swinford Media Group, the Watermark Auto Group Foundation, Banterra Bank and Southern Illinois Now, and of course our producer, Luke O'Neill at Union Street Arts. Reach out to him if you need some really authentic and great recordings. And so thank you. And I'm Russell Williams. I'm director of Ethos. You can find all of our podcasts online now at ethosmarion.org, and that'll link you to both the YouTube and also the podcast platforms.
And thank you so much for finding us. Please subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. If you like what we're doing, share it with somebody that you know. And if you really want to go the extra mile, please rate and review us. As we heard today, we run on a world of reviews, unfortunately, so we could appreciate a good 5-star review from you. We're on all of the major podcast apps. We also are on a video version on YouTube, and we appreciate you taking time to listen in and hear this story. I'm Jennifer Olson. I'm Director of Business Development for the City of Marion. If you need help navigating how to start a business, how to expand a business, or you just want an introduction to somebody, let me know. I'm happy to help. You can find me at City Hall, and all my contact information is out on LinkedIn. And again, that's City of Marion, City Hall. Thanks for joining us.